Hello, my dear brothers and sisters. The updates I bring for you right now is updates about the list of North American countries and their capital. But before I proceed, please try to follow my page and like this video and share it. And you can still add this to your favorite in case you want to do it. So come, let me show you. So my dear brothers and sisters, the first country is known as Antigua and its capital is known as St. John's. The next country is known as Barbuda and its capital is known as St. John's too. The next country is known as Bahamas and its capital is known as Nassau. The next country is known as Barbados and its capital is known as Bridgetown. The next country is known as Belize and its capital is known as Belmopan. The next country is known as Canada and its capital is known as Ottawa. The next country is known as Costa Rica and its capital is known as San Jose. The next country is known as Cuba and its capital is known as Havana. The next country is known as Dominica and its capital is known as Rocio. The next country is known as Dominican Republic and its capital is known as Santo Domingo. The next country is known as El Salvador and its capital is known as San Salvador. The next country is known as Grenada and its capital is known as The next country is known as Guatemala and its capital is known as Guatemala City. The next country is known as Haiti and its capital is known as Port-au-Prince. The next country is known as Honduras and its capital is known as Tegucigalpa. The next country is known as Jamaica and its capital is known as Kingston. The next country is known as Mexico and its capital is known as Mexico City. The next country is known as Nicaragua and its capital is known as Managua. The next country is known as Panama and its capital is known as Panama City. The next country is known as Saint Kitts and Nevis. Their capital is known as Basseterre. The next country is known as Saint Lucia and its capital is known as Castries. The next country is known as Saint Vincent and the Grenadines and its capital is known as Kingstown. The next country is known as Trinidad and Tobago and its capital is known as Port of Spain. The next country is known as, which is the last one, is United States of America and its capital is known as Washington, D.C.